there's a reason you can't forget them. A reason you question yourself every night wondering how someone could look you in the eyes, promise love, and then shatter your peace without blinking. That's the power of the narcissist, not their strength, but their disguise. Because a narcissist doesn't come to destroy you at first. They come to study you, to learn your emotions, your dreams, your soft spots. They wear masks so convincing, you begin to believe you've finally met someone who understands you. But what you've really met is a master of manipulation. Today, I'm exposing the 3 demonic faces every narcissist hides behind, the ones that drain your energy, twist your reality, and make you forget who you are. But this time, you're not the victim. This time, you're the one waking up. The first face a narcissist shows you is pure light, charm, attention, and what feels like soul deep connection. It's intoxicating. They study your insecurities and mirror your desires until you believe you've found the one. But this face isn't love. It's strategy. They use admiration as a weapon, giving you exactly what you crave, so you'll hand over your trust. Psychology calls it love bombing. But in reality, it's emotional hypnosis. You start believing that your worth depends on their validation. The savior face is addictive because it feels like healing. But it's actually control wrapped in affection. They sense your wounds, not to help you heal, but to bind you closer. Every compliment, every romantic gesture, every promise is carefully crafted to build dependency. And when you start expecting consistency, they vanish, criticize, or withdraw affection. That's how they train your nervous system to chase them, to crave their approval. But here's the truth. The love that blinds you is your own love being reflected back. They never saved you. You saved yourself by believing you were worthy of being seen. That power was always yours. The mask only works when you forget who you are. When you wake up, when you stop chasing validation, when you remember your value, that's when the mask cracks. Because a narcissist's illusion only survives in the presence of your confusion. The moment you choose clarity, the savior disappears and your freedom begins. Once the narcissist has drawn you in with the charm of the savior, the mask slowly begins to slip. And what emerges next is the judge. This is the face that turns your light into a weapon against you. The same qualities they once praised, your empathy, independence, or strength, now become their target. They start by planting subtle seeds of doubt. You've changed. You're too emotional. You're overreacting. At first, it sounds like concern, but it's not. It's control wrapped in criticism. The judge's goal is simple: to rewrite your identity. They chip away at your self-confidence until you no longer trust your own perception. They twist your truth until you start apologizing for things you didn't even do. Psychologists call this gaslighting, a form of emotional manipulation that makes you question your own reality. You begin walking on eggshells, analyzing every word, trying to avoid their next emotional explosion. But here's the brutal truth. The narcissist's judgment isn't about you. It's projection. They condemn in you what they secretly hate in themselves. Your independence triggers their insecurity. Your kindness exposes their emptiness. Your confidence threatens the fragile ego they've built on illusion. And so they tear you down to feel taller. They belittle your dreams, mock your emotions, and distort your memories. Not because you're weak, but because you remind them of what they can never truly be whole. Every insult, every silent treatment, every cold stare is designed to make you surrender your power. But the moment you recognize it for what it is, psychological warfare, everything changes. You stop personalizing their cruelty. You stop explaining yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you. You stop fighting for peace in a place built on chaos. When you no longer seek validation from the judge, you rise above their courtroom. You start to see their criticism as confession, Every word they use to break you down reveals the pain they refuse to face within themselves. And that's your freedom, realizing their opinion was never a verdict on your worth. It was always a reflection of their own fear of being exposed. When the narcissist realizes their judgment no longer controls you, they shift into their most deceptive disguise, the victim. This is the phase where they twist the entire narrative, turning themselves into the wounded soul and you into the villain. Suddenly, the person who caused the pain becomes the one who claims to be suffering the most. They cry, they plead, they tell half-truths that make you question your sanity. And because you're empathetic, because you feel deeply, you begin to doubt yourself again. This manipulation is psychological genius, but deeply toxic. The narcissist knows that guilt is the fastest way to reattach your empathy to their control. They feed off your compassion. When they sense you pulling away, they create chaos. Maybe they'll tell you you're heartless, accuse you of abandoning them, or bring up how much they've done for you. It's emotional blackmail disguised as vulnerability, and it's designed to keep you stuck in the cycle of saving them. But here's the truth that hits hardest: their pain is performative. It's not about healing. It's about power. The narcissist doesn't want forgiveness. They want sympathy they haven't earned. They use tears the same way they once used charm, to pull you back into the illusion that they care. It's not love, it's dependency. They don't need your heart. They need your attention, because without it, their ego collapses. Psychologically, this phase reveals their deepest fear: abandonment. They can't survive without an audience. So when you start to detach, they play helpless to trigger your rescuer instinct. They know your kindness is your strength, and they weaponize it to keep you chained to their chaos. But the moment you see through this manipulation, everything changes. You realize that real empathy doesn't mean saving someone who's destroying you. True compassion starts with yourself. It's okay to let someone drown in the consequences of their own behavior. It's okay to walk away from manipulation disguised as pain, because your responsibility is not to heal their wounds. It's to protect your peace. When you stop falling for the victim, you reclaim your emotional freedom. You no longer respond to guilt trips or false tears. You see their sorrow for what it is: a strategy, not sincerity. And that's when you rise, not as their rescuer, but as your own savior. Here's the shocking truth most people never realize until it's too late. A narcissist doesn't have an identity of their own. They build one out of yours. Every face they wear, every emotion they mimic, every word that once felt tailor-made for your heart, it's all borrowed from you. They are emotional shapeshifters, feeding off your energy, mirroring your values, and reflecting your personality back to you so perfectly that you mistake imitation for intimacy. In psychology, this is called mirroring, a manipulation tactic that makes you feel deeply connected when in reality, you're only falling in love with your own reflection. At the beginning, it feels magical. You think, finally, someone gets me. But what you don't see is that they're studying you like a script, memorizing your emotional language, your tone, your dreams, so they can use it later to manipulate you. The person you thought you met never actually existed. They were a customized version of you, crafted to win your trust. And when you start noticing the inconsistencies, when their actions stop matching their words, they switch masks. One day they're affectionate, the next they're cold. One day they're apologetic, the next they're distant. Why? Because without your emotional response, they don't exist. Your reactions are their oxygen. Your energy sustains their false identity. That's why they provoke you, love, bomb you, then criticize you. It's all to keep you emotionally hooked. But the most powerful realization comes when you understand this: every mask they wore was proof of your light, not their darkness. The way they mirrored your compassion shows how magnetic your empathy truly is. The way they copied your strength reveals how powerful your spirit is. They needed your reflection to feel alive because they couldn't stand the emptiness of their own shadow. The moment you stop reflecting their energy back, when you detach, go silent, and focus on yourself, the masks fall apart. You'll see them scramble to recreate the illusion, but it won't work anymore because their entire existence depends on your reaction. And when you stop feeding the illusion, the performance ends. That's your turning point. You finally see that the version of them you fell for was never real. It was you, your light, your essence, reflected back through a broken mirror. And when you reclaim that reflection, when you give your energy back to yourself, you don't just escape the narcissist, you evolve beyond their reach. The most powerful truth you'll ever learn about a narcissist is this: they don't feed on your love, they feed on your reaction. Every time you defend yourself, explain yourself, or try to make them understand your pain, you're giving them exactly what they crave: control over your emotions. That's why the real victory isn't revenge, it's reclamation. It's remembering who you were before they taught you to doubt your own worth. A narcissist's entire power lies in confusion, in making you question what's real, what's right, and who you are. But once you step back into clarity, their power evaporates, because clarity is their kryptonite. When you stop engaging, stop reacting, and start observing, they lose their grip. They can't manipulate what no longer seeks their approval. Reclaiming your emotional identity means separating your feelings from their fiction. It means realizing that your emotions, your empathy, your love, your loyalty are not weaknesses. They're superpowers. The problem was never that you loved too deeply. It's that you loved someone incapable of love. And that's not your shame. It's your awakening. Psychologically, narcissists thrive on enmeshment, the blurring of your emotional boundaries until you can't tell where you end and they begin. Healing begins when you draw that line again, when you say, "This is my peace, this is my truth, this is my energy," and you can't touch it anymore. That's when your nervous system starts to calm. That's when you start breathing freely again. That's when you remember what self-trust feels like. The journey back to yourself isn't loud or dramatic. It's quiet. It's choosing silence over explanation. It's choosing distance over drama. It's choosing your sanity over their chaos. You stop reacting to their manipulation, not because you're weak, but because you've outgrown the game. And the beautiful irony is this: when you finally take your power back, the narcissist sees it. They feel it. The control they once had dissolves, and they panic, because without your energy, their illusion collapses. That's when you realize they were never powerful. You just forgot your own strength for a while. So take it back. Every bit of energy, every ounce of love, every spark of confidence they drained from you, reclaim it. Your healing is not just survival, it's your greatest revenge. Because nothing destroys a narcissist more than your peace, your silence, and the unstoppable power of a person who finally remembers who they are. You see, narcissists thrive in the shadows of your confusion. But the moment you see them clearly, the moment you refuse to play their emotional games, everything changes. You're no longer their supply. You're their lesson. You've walked through manipulation, survived emotional warfare, and still have a heart capable of love. That's strength. That's power. So today, choose you. Choose peace over chaos. Choose boundaries over begging. Choose silence over explanation. Because the truth is, you don't heal by fixing a narcissist. You heal by freeing yourself from one. If this message woke something inside you, don't just scroll away. Hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and make sure you subscribe, because you deserve daily reminders of your power, your worth, and your peace. Remember this: a narcissist's greatest fear is the day you stop caring, because that's the day you finally become unstoppable.